So we're back with Jenn Jacques of bearingarms.com. And last segment, we were talking about cheese curds. And then during the break, I started talking about Waffle House. Do you have Waffle Houses in Wisco?
We do not. We also do not have Chick-fil-A or Cracker Barrel up here in my neck of the woods.
Well, you have to be like 80 and older to go to Cracker Barrel. But as far as Chick-fil-A, that is blasphemy.
It's un-American, isn't it? It really is.
Why don't y'all have a Chick-fil-A? What's up with that?
I think the closest one is Milwaukee, which is pretty much the only reason that I'll go down and shoot with Jay in Milwaukee.
Gotcha. No, I mean, no, I would look for any reason to go to Chick-fil-A. Literally any reason, yeah.
That's why when we went on spring vacation with our kids, I got them hardcore addicted to Chick-fil-A. So now they both want to move. And I'm like, yes.
See, Chick-fil-A always does good. Even in unintended ways. Now, I always did ask myself where they hire these people because I'm starting to think that they breed them because nobody on the planet is that nice.
I'm that nice. Come on.
I know, but like they're consistent. I've never been to a Chick-fil-A where they weren't exceptionally nice.
That's true.
Yeah, it's
maybe they're like really mean after hours. I'm joking.
Or maybe they're
probably all from Wisconsin.
Or they're holding their families hostage in the back.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to go there. So you're the bad guy.
All right. So let's talk about what's going on in Iowa with Stand Your Ground, youth shooting, and capital carry. There's so much to talk about.
Oh my gosh. So this omnibus pro-gun bill that has finally been approved is taking care of so many issues. Not only will they not be able to print or do a list of who has a concealed carry permit.
All right, let's go ahead.
What?
Go ahead. I'll stop you.
Well,
as soon as you finish
go
this
ahead,
thought.
because I was going to move it on a different direction.
Yeah, I want to stop there because I'm like, I can't, like, why, God, what would be the motivation that you've seen behind why people would want a list of people who conceal carry?
So there was a writer in the Boston Sun who was talking about needing to protect her children from families, specifically parents, who own guns and have guns in their homes. And I would say that would be one reason, but that's ridiculous because as a parent, anytime my children have a sleepover, play date, or whatever it is here, I say that the parents and the children have to come in and the children are taught gun safety. If it's age appropriate, I teach them the Eddie Eagle rules, or if they're older, it's the 4 rules of gun safety. And then I tell the parents, here's where my guns are stored, here's where my ammo is stored, your children will never have access to them. And if and when I do pick them up, I will be armed for their protection. I don't know of any other gun-owning parent who doesn't do that or who's just, being ridiculous.
So what is it? So, like, is there intent, basically, if they know you have a concealed carry permit, that they're going to stay away from you, they're not going to be around you? Is that the motivation behind that, generally speaking?
Can you imagine Shannon Watts saying, oh, my precious children, they have a play date over here. Well, let's just look these people up. And it's just another layer of discriminating against gun owners.
Yeah, it's weird to me. It's kind of like, it's almost like they're assuming anybody who owns a firearm is bad. But I thought these were the same people who believed in the Second Amendment, but
they're also the same people who work under the guise of gun safety while they try to push gun control.
Which is another thing to me. It's kind of like, look, those people who are pushing this whole notion of gun safety, so to speak, they've donned themselves the masters of gun safety.
Right.
I can't figure out if they're just stupid, incompetent, or morons. And I know that sounds like it's redundant, because it is. Because if we understand the world that we live in now, and we understand, there were well over 300 million guns in this country?
Right.
If you understand that, and you understand there isn't a magical genie, like there isn't a bottle we could just take all the guns and dump them into and throw them into the ocean, wouldn't reason lead you to believe, well, then I want to educate my child the best way possible so that if they happen to come across a gun, because it's very likely considering how many guns are in this country, I would want them to, I don't know, maybe watch something like Eddie Eagle. But they actually almost mock the notion of Eddie Eagle. Like if you tried to get it, if you tried to start an initiative that would show Eddie Eagle in schools, they'd lose their mind. Like,
well, we've seen parents lose their minds. There was a Florida mother who went absolutely crazy because her son's school, or daughter's, I'm not sure which one, had shown the children the Eddie Eagle program to teach them stop, don't touch, run away, tell an adult if they ever come across a gun. I mean, have you ever heard anything so evil? The NRA, how dare they? So basically, this lady lost her mind.
I mean, essentially what it sounds like to me is that her agenda is more important than the safety of her child.
Exactly. And she just believes that if we put our children in these magical little bubbles where guns don't exist, la, 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 then they'll never touch one or have the curiosity to do anything with a gun or bite a Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun or do anything. So,
you know, what's funny about that, it's like, I remember when I was in like high school, and I would hear this all the time, you know, the kids whose parents were extremely strict didn't allow them to do anything. Like anything at all, you know, just incredibly strict or keep them in this weird little bubble. The moment they got to college, they just lost it. You know what I mean? Because there's something about reality that kind of pounces on your perceived notion of reality. Right?
And my whole thing is, you know what? Kids are naturally curious.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to firearms. We need to take that element of curiosity away from them and teach them, look, this is a tool that can do very major things.
Absolutely.
And this is how you need to handle yourself around them. I mean, I still have light sockets and electric outlets in my house, but when my kids were little, I covered them.
Yeah.
When they got older, I took out the covers and I taught them, like with Louis the Lightning Bug. So I equate the covers with the NSSF's Project Child Safe and Louis the Lightning Bug with the Eddie Eagle program from the NRA, because the reality is nobody provides more information and wants people to be safe around guns more than the gun industry.
Like, it's like seriously to the point of like exhaustion.
Really, and it puts people to shame. Yeah. I mean, it's a shame that there are people out there in 2017 who don't know this.
No, it's incredible. Like, and then the funny thing about it is the only like their idea of gun safety literally is background checks. Like, think about that for
background checks.
Yeah, this is moms demand action, right? For gun safety for, I'm assuming, their kids. Their only option is background checks.
Their only option is to add more laws that criminals will continue to disobey, because that, my friends, is what makes them criminals. Criminals don't obey the laws. Adding more laws is not going to make any person intent on doing something evil say, oh, wait, there was that one law that they put in last year. That's right. I won't. I mean, really? You really think that they're sitting there looking over HuffPo? Oh, I hope they didn't sign this law into effect yet. Oh, I mean, come on.
Yeah, but I mean, we just have to kind of, I'm not going to say we just have to accept the fact, but we need to understand that there's just that segment of the population that really does exist in a bubble.
I hate that we have to work within their limits and they refuse to even see what we're trying to do. Because I guarantee you that if they sat down to talk to me in person, that they would get a whole different story than what they're hearing from people like the New York Times and Bloomberg.
You know, it's funny you point that out, because I often had the same experience. A lot of the times, like, okay, if you follow me on Twitter, I be smacking people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I do. However, in my interactions in the real world with respect to dealing with people that I come across who may know about what I do and then feel some type of way about it, when I actually sit down and converse with them and talk with them, they generally walk away with a different perception. Even if they don't change their mind on the issue, they walk away with a different perception of what the issues are and understanding where I'm coming from.
What's funny is when women around here hear that, you know, oh, you're an editor of Bearing Arms, oh, you carry a gun, I get 3 responses. One is, oh my gosh, that is so cool, it's on my bucket list. Please take me to the gun range with you. 2, I shoot too. What do you shoot? Oh my gosh. Yeah. And 3, I cannot believe that you have guns. You are a mother. How can you have firearms in your home?
And I think they all talk like that too.
They really do. I call it the Kathy voice because it's just like my birth mom. She speaks like this. America would be much better off if we got rid of all the guns.
That argument is always so interesting to me. And one thing I noted too that I pointed out, they tend to have a very kind of like they look at gun control in terms of the masses, right?
Yeah.
We look at gun control as the individual. Not gun control, but the Second Amendment and what it does for us from an individual standpoint. Because at the end of the day, if something were to happen, it's happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, you're the only person that matters. So I don't care what your statistics say, usually wrong and they're usually a lie, but you can give me all the statistics and the percentages of, the chances of you ever needing to use that gun is like 1 or 2%. But every day somebody is that 1%. And
exactly, and that's exactly what I said to my mom when she said, America would be much better off if we just got rid of all the guns. And I said, so what you're telling me is that I don't have the right, and you would rather have me be defenseless and unable to protect my children if, say, someone broke into my home at 2 o'clock in the morning and our local police department couldn't get here and the nearest county sheriff is 25 minutes away? Yeah. That's what you're telling me.
Exactly.
Really? That's pretty horrific considering you only have 3 grandkids and they're all mine.
Yeah,
and
then I look at them and I say, and you're okay with that? That doesn't make...
The sad thing is they don't put themselves in that situation to take that train of thinking. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like they're in that bubble. There's a unicorn in there and everything's fluffy and it's a really and truly safe space. They do not put themselves in the situation of someone like Christy McMains, who needed a gun to protect herself from a man wielding a 12-inch knife that he had plunged into her several times.
Jesus.
At the end of the day, she saved herself with that gun. Now, did she put it on her that morning thinking, oh, I can't wait to pull this. It's like the West, I can carry a gun. No, she was like, okay, if I have to use this, I will use it. I don't want to, but thank God she had it on her.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And I just wish, I can wish and hope all day long, but I really did wish people at least at bare minimum, man, just take the time to just to hear the other side's perspective. Here's somebody who disagrees with you and listen to them. I've done it on countless occasions, almost to the point now where I'm kind of apathetic, largely because I don't get the same. They don't give me the same courtesy back in a lot of ways, and so it starts to become a little daunting, and it just really kind of overwhelms me sometimes. But I have to, in order to remain consistent, I still try to give people the benefit of the doubt and hear them out. It's usually the same things.
Spurts. But I say, you know what? You and Dana and Wayne, you guys do amazing jobs of putting videos out there for the NRA that give us a ton of good information and encourage us to speak out. But at the end of the day, neither you nor Dana are the face or voice of the NRA or the Second Amendment in my community. Yeah. Up here in rural Wisconsin, it's Jenn Jacques. And so I'm constantly speaking out. I don't care if I'm in the grocery, it drives my kids nuts. Yeah. I don't care if I'm in the library. I don't care what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm constantly talking. And if you can just find one thing in common, I don't care it's that we're both standing in line at Quick Trip. I don't care what it is. Yeah. You can find something in common with that person. You can open a line of dialogue that will eventually, you can find a way to move in that direction and get it done, guys. There's no reason you can't speak out.
Yeah, no, and I'll leave it with this. What's interesting that happened to me, it just came to my mind when you were talking. I was at a store shopping for some furniture that I needed for an office, and the guy, I've been in there several times, and the guy's like, it's like somebody had recognized me or something like that, and asked to take a picture or something, and the guy who was working there kept asking me, like, hey, who are you? Like, I was like, nothing, just nothing. And I was like, don't worry about it. It's just the guy's kind of, whatever. And he kept asking me every time I came back. And then eventually I was like, all right, fine. And I gave him my name. I was like, just throw that in YouTube and, it'll pop right up.
See what you find.
Yeah. A couple minutes later, he comes back. He's like, I didn't know it was for guns. I'm like, see, that's why I didn't tell you. Because I don't have time for this right now. Like, I got stuff to do. I got to go here. I got to do that. Now I'm like kind of like, but he was actually pretty cool with it at the end of the time. But that's something that's actually pretty common. It tends to happen when people find out what I do.
Yeah, but you live in Texas.
You'd be surprised. Which is why I always say, from the standpoint of people in California, when people are telling people, "Oh, just let California fall off the face of the earth,"
No.
understand that people migrate. So, but we've severely run out of time, and so, but thank you very much, Jen. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, and be sure to join us again.
Thanks for having me, and I will see you in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. You take care.
You too.
All right. When we come back, we'll talk live with one of my good friends, JJ Racaza.